Good afternoon. It is a pleasure to be here with you today, and it is an honor for me to share the stage with the next Vice President of the United States, Senator Tim Kaine. I am Walter Smith, and I am running for the Commissioner of Agriculture in North Carolina. I've spent my entire life preparing for this job. Born and raised on a farm, attended NC State where I received an ag engineering degree, taught vocational agriculture before going to work with the U.S. Department of Agriculture, where I have administered federal farm programs for the last 30 years. I've also served as the mayor of the town of Booneville in North Carolina. I've now retired, and I own and operate a farm in Yadkin County. Now, I'm looking forward to working with President Clinton to bring jobs back to the middle class in North Carolina. Something the Republicans have failed to do. They've forgotten about our family farmers in North Carolina. North Carolina is one of the leading states in the loss of family farms. Since 2009, we have lost over 3,000 family farms in North Carolina. We must reverse this trend, and in doing so, we will bring jobs back to rural North Carolina. And according to a study by economist Mike Walden, North Carolina has seen a reduction in middle-income jobs occurring faster in North Carolina than in the nation. Now, that Carolina comeback might work for the top 1%, but it's not working for the rest of us. Now, Hillary Clinton has a plan to build an economy that works for everyone, not just those at the top. She will make the boldest investments in infrastructure since Eisenhower when he built the interstate highway system. She'll fix our roads and our bridges, expand our public transport, enhance our seaports and our airports. And rural towns and communities need the same things that urban areas need. Family farmers are dependent on these rural towns and communities to survive. And Hillary is committed to ensuring that those living in the rural areas have access to a good education, broadband internet, modernized power grid, adequate health care, and jobs. She is focused on helping small businesses in rural North Carolina. She wants to build an economy that works for everyone, from all walks of life, putting families first and recognizing that we are stronger together. Agriculture is the #1 industry in North Carolina. Her jobs plan and investment in infrastructure will help us to save our family farms and build sustainable rural communities. Now, as your Ag Commissioner, I will work for all of you, everyone in the state, because the Department of Agriculture is no longer just the Department of Agriculture. We're responsible for consumer services, and we have more impact on your daily lives than any other department in the state government. For making sure that the scanners in the stores that you shop at record the correct price, for making sure that the scales that weigh your meat and produce, and my favorite, candy, is accurate and you don't get cheated. They're making sure that prescription drugs you take and the cosmetics you use are safe to use and they're properly labeled. They make sure that the bedding industry, your mattresses, pillows, and your sleeping bags are sanitary. And they make sure that when you buy a gallon of gas, you actually get a gallon of gas. Now, the department is responsible for other things such as animal welfare. They inspect, regulate, and license our animal shelters, kennels, and pet stores. However, our department has done an extremely poor job. In fact, they're not doing their job. North Carolina had one of the largest pet rescues in the history of this country just this year. After years of complaints, our animal rescue group finally stepped in North Carolina to rescue these animals. According to news reports, the Department of Agriculture knew about these complaints and the conditions these animals were living in since 2005. For 10 years, our own Department of Agriculture stood by while these animals suffered, and they did nothing. I will not tolerate animal cruelty. The department is also responsible for food safety. And according to the Center for Disease Control, 128,000 people get sick and 3,000 die every year from foodborne illnesses. Now, we've got to do a better job of making sure that the food that you eat and you feed your family is safe. And that will be one of my top priorities. Now, in closing, there's one other area that I'd like to address. This is not covered under the Department of Agriculture, but it's something I feel very strongly about, and that is food insecurity in North Carolina. You never hear the Republicans talk about this. I don't know if it's because they don't think it exists or they just don't care. But North Carolina is one of the top 10 states in the nation regularly in food shortages. 1 of every 4 children under the age of 18 is food insecure in North Carolina. The last nutritious meal they get is Friday at school. The next one they get is when they go back to school on Monday. We have food deserts scattered throughout North Carolina. I will personally lead the fight to feed the hungry in North Carolina. Hillary needs your help. Every Democrat in North Carolina needs your help in this election. When someone from your local party or from the coordinated campaign asks you to volunteer, don't say, well, let me check my schedule to see if I have time. Ask them when you can volunteer, because if it isn't important to you, if it is important, you'll find a time. If it's not important, you'll find an excuse. So I don't want to hear any excuses this year until election time. And if we continue to work hard until the polls close, we can make a difference, because we are stronger together.
There's no road that can take us home. Flying blind, terrified, we all feel like we're alone. We're all candles in the dark.